It's got to be real.
Be real. Be real. Yes, guys, what's going on? Okay, so a video about the WBC. Apparently, it's not official, so the rules aren't set. However, there is a lot of talk, rumours going around about the WBC holding a tournament for the £147 belt of Floyd Mayweather Jr. Obviously, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is retired. He was the champion. His belts are relinquished. So they say he's been elevated to another status. I think it begins with an E. I've forgotten what it's called, but irrelevant. We're talking about this WBC tournament that is apparently being held by the WBC for the £147 WBC belt of Floyd Money Mayweather. So this could be good, and I think it will be good, but it's also not as good as people think. Now, I'm going to clear up a few things about this, right? If the WBC, right, hold a tournament, I'll tell you a reason why their tournament will be BS. The number one reason will be because it doesn't have Keith Thurman, it doesn't have Kell Brook. The WBC do not recognise the majority of the £147 fighters, including Tim Bradley, okay? And there's definitely, see, in boxing, right, there seems to be a split between top-ranked fighters, Al Haymon fighters, and the WBC. Like, certain belts are linked with certain sanctioning bodies. The WBC is definitely heavily linked with Al Haymon. Now, Brandon Rios was ranked by the WBC. However, he's now retired after losing to Timothy Bradley. So here are the fighters we currently have. We have Amir Khan at number 1. We have Danny Garcia at number 2. Shawn Porter, Robert Guerrero, Constantine, Andre Berto, Ray Robinson. No, not that sugar. Ray Robinson, another Ray Robinson. So the point is, out of these fighters, which one of these named fighters, right? These are the top WBC £147 fighters. Which one of these do we really recognise? We recognise Amir Khan. We recognise Danny Swift Garcia. We recognise Shawn Porter. And obviously Robert Guerrero, and Andre Berto is also in there. Now, firstly, Andre Berto and Amir Khan, how would that work? I don't know if they ever came to face each other. Same camp, friends. I don't know if they would want to fight. I don't know if they would even come to fighting. However, we then have Shawn Porter, we have Robert Guerrero, we still have Amir Khan, and we have Danny Garcia. Ray Robinson, I don't know. Constantine, I don't really know of, if I'm being honest. I've seen Constantine fight, but I don't recall it. You know, Errol Spence, I believe, is ranked at number 15. Okay, so when we're looking at the top welterweights in the WBC, there are only really a few legit ones. There's Shawn Porter, Berto, Danny Garcia, and Amir Khan. Okay, I don't think Robert Guerrero's got any more. I believe he's really shot. I think he's really finished. Andre Berto as well. I mean, how good is he? Okay, so elite level, we've got Amir Khan, Danny Garcia, and Shawn Porter. Now, you see where I've quickly narrowed it down? Like, I mean, if Robert Guerrero faced Shawn Porter, how would you feel about that fight? I wouldn't be too happy with it. If Robert Guerrero faced Amir Khan, how would you feel? I wouldn't be too happy with it. Danny Garcia, Robert Guerrero, I wouldn't feel too happy with it. Andre Berto, Amir Khan, you know Amir Khan would get some severe stick. Danny Garcia, Andre Berto, Danny Garcia would get some severe stick, even though Andre Berto would stand a good chance in that fight. Stylistically, I think anyone stylistically stands a chance against Danny Garcia if you can box and have some speed. I mean, there's so many fights in here which I don't really think are brilliant fights. So I'm going to say it like this. I'm not too keen on the WBC tournament for the belt of Floyd Mayweather. I'm going to be honest. I think we should just see Amir Khan versus Danny Garcia. I think that one fight really, I think them two fighters are of that caliber and at that level where they can fight. I mean, Danny Garcia has only beaten Paulie Malignaggi at £147, but I think, you see, I'm not under the same umbrella as certain people who tend to go with the thing that if you do something at one weight, you know, it doesn't mean anything in the weight above. If you move up a weight, you haven't done anything. I don't really fall for that. Keith Thurman tends to talk about that. Kell Brook tends to talk about that. People obviously who haven't moved up tend to talk about that a lot. And people are kind of buying into it. I'm not really too fond of that. I think that if you do something at £140, I think there are double standards in boxing where Floyd Mayweather Jr. can move up to 154 and fight the best. I mean, Floyd Mayweather Jr. could if he came back and wanted to fight Triple G at 160, everybody would be perfectly fine with that. But I mean, you wouldn't hear anyone saying, "Oh, Floyd Mayweather doesn't deserve Gennady Golovkin at 160. He needs to prove himself at the weight." So there's double standards there. Do you know what I mean? So why is it that when certain fighters move up from 147 to 154 or 140 to 147, why is it that they have to prove themselves in that weight class to get the very best? You know, it doesn't really make full sense. You know, if you're talking about deserving and stuff, I mean, I don't really think that's how boxing works. I think that an elite fighter at 140 pounds, be it Danny Garcia, I think if Danny Garcia moves up to 147 and he's the clear champ at 140, there's not really anyone there for him to beat. He faced Lamont Peterson. Yeah, maybe people felt like he didn't win all the fights. There were fights which people felt he lost. Some people felt he lost one. Some people felt he lost two. Some people even felt he lost 3 fights. So, you know, it's kind of... Not 3 fights, I think it's mainly 1 or 2, to be honest with you. Yeah, 1 or 2. But irrespective, right, the point I'm making is that I think Danny Garcia has had enough wins at 140, become, you know, the elite level champion. And, you know, he what's he supposed to do? Come up to 147 and fight a guy ranked to number 20? I mean, how would you feel about that? Fight a guy ranked at number 15? How would you feel about that? Fight a guy ranked at number 10? Do you know what I mean? Like, he's had a Paulie Malignaggi fight 1. Now he's going to take another fight. You know, he deserves the best of the 147-pound division. You know, so does Amir Khan. When I think Amir Khan fought a lot of opposition at 140, and I do think that resume at 140 should not be totally neglected. I think that you should take it into consideration when moving up to 147. So going back to the topic about the tournament of the WBC. If Keith Thurman was involved, if Kell Brook was involved, hell yeah, let's get it, right? And there's a few other fighters who I'd really want to see in this tournament in 147 pounds. However, you see, the issue right now is that there's a few fighters who are slightly lowly ranked lower by certain sanctioning bodies, and then ranked higher by other sanctioning bodies. I think Saddam Ali is an excellent fighter. I think Errol Spence is an excellent fighter. I mean, how would I feel about Errol Spence? Because people, when they hear 147 tournament, they think Errol Spence. They're thinking Saddam Ali. They're thinking Robert Guerrero. They're thinking Amir Khan, Danny Garcia, Kell Brook, Shawn Porter. They're thinking these fighters, you know what I mean? Timothy Bradley. But you see, that's not the way boxing currently works. There's Al Haymon, Top Rank, there's belts, there's you know, it's just so divided, and this is a big problem in boxing. I'm not too big on the current state of boxing in terms of the politics. I mean, fighters nowadays don't even understand it, let alone people like me, you know, who try to understand this stuff. Dan Raphael doesn't fully even understand it. So many people just do not understand what the sanctioning bodies are doing, how they're working. It just doesn't make any sense. The game of boxing has become so complex and so double standard. Like there's so many double standards in boxing. It's just ridiculous, and there's no consistency in boxing, you know. And there's so many like criticisms. There's so many double standards. There's so many flaws in the boxing politics. It's just ridiculous. Like there's not one set standard for every boxer. How much money you make, what name you are, all these things play a huge factor in boxing. But look, the 147-pound tournament by the WBC, if it takes place, okay, good, okay. It's not, but I mean, if Shawn Porter fought Robert Guerrero, I mean, would you not think that you'd like to see a better fight than that? I mean, there are a lot of better fights than Shawn Porter versus Robert Guerrero, Danny Garcia versus Robert Guerrero, Amir Khan versus Robert Guerrero. Guerrero is a decent fighter, but to be honest with you, you know, I'd rather see Porter, Thurman, Khan, Garcia for the WBC. Do you see what I mean? Like, I'm not a huge fan of the WBC tournament. Let me know what you think. Comments in section below. Please subscribe. Do you think a tournament, if it is carried out by the WBC, do you think it's healthy? Do you think it's something that you would like to see? Would you like to see the likes of, I mean, let me get these names back up, right? Ray Robinson, Andre Berto, Constantine, Robert Guerrero, Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, and Amir Khan. Would you like to see them guys mix it up with each other? It doesn't sound too appetizing to me. I think there's some names in there which, and I don't know how many of them names are really going to get involved. I mean, unless you throw Errol Spence into the mix. Not really too interested, to be honest. If I have said anything wrong, it is a political video, so I'm not, you know, it's a bit here and there. If I've got any facts wrong, I do apologise. Please leave your comment section below. Make sure you subscribe and let me know what you guys think. Do you want to see this 147-pound tournament in a bit?